What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Mika.
And it's your girl, Just Right Jules.
And we're back for another Red Cup Talks. However, this is going to be the first official episode for Political Wednesdays and recaps for our podcast. Oh, my goodness. I have a cold, so y'all going to have to deal with me sniffling. It is what it is. What's going on, Jules?
Hey, it's the summer ending cold that you got going on there. It's gonna get better though. It's gonna get better. You know how it is.
This thing is it's dragging me. And I gotta see if I could get some different music on that. Like I was over here trying to jam to it.
It was like
I was trying.
Conference. Like you getting ready to go on them conference that at work, like one of them big town halls.
On a webinar.
It's like a town hall. That's what it is. It's like the intro to the town hall. I feel like every company has that music. Yes.
On them daggone webinars, child. Okay.
Indeed.
Oh my God. Sorry. Anywho, so today we're gonna go over everything. Like I'm so mad that I have the nasal sound because I really want to enunciate everything, but we're gonna get through it. So I want to go over the DNC. I want to go because it's been a whole week. So let me see. We got Kamala's economic. I'm gonna call it a plan. I'm gonna be nice. We're gonna call it an economic plan. Then she had like a little spat back and forth with some reporters. And of course, the DNC is this week, and I've sat through 2 days so far. So I was able to watch pretty much everybody. So we're going to get into that too. So any thoughts on any of this before we start? Any thoughts on the DNC?
I'm going to let you guide the way because, I don't know where I'm gonna go with it, and I know you have a lot of thoughts on it, so I'm gonna just be open to your thoughts and go from there.
All right. So look, our icebreaker is the reporter talking to her when she was, I believe, in Pennsylvania. I believe she was in Pennsylvania. So we are going to start there, and this is the reporter.
Okay, guys. Hi. What you got?
Right here. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's almost done. I mean, there's some little tweaks, and I'm gonna, work on it. Probably starting tomorrow for next month. But it's coming along. I feel good about it. I mean, essentially, it's much of what you've probably heard me talk about before in terms of just what I believe to be the promise of America and the fact that we're all in this. And there's obviously a lot at stake, but there's also a lot to feel good about in terms of the future of our country. So there will be a lot that is about what I believe is a way forward, a new way forward, and bringing everyone along in that.
You unveiled some economic policies last week.
Yeah.
Can you explain how you're going to pay for those? And can you give us a sense of what other policies you want to unveil going forward?
Sure. Well, I mean, you just look at it in terms of what we are talking about, for example, around children and the child tax credit and extending the EITC. It's at $6,000 for the first year of a child's life. The return on that investment in terms of what that will do and what it will pay for will be tremendous. We've seen it when we did it in the first year of our administration. We reduced child poverty by over 50%. So that's a lot of the work. And then what we're doing in terms of the tax credits, we know that there's a great return on that investment. When we increase home ownership in America, what that means in terms of increasing the tax base, not to mention property tax base, what that does to fund schools, again, return on investment. I think it's a mistake for any person who talks about public policy to not critically evaluate how you measure the return on investment. When you are strengthening neighborhoods, strengthening communities, and in particular the economy of those communities, and investing in a broad-based economy, everybody benefits, and it pays for itself in that way.
So I wanted to get your thoughts on that because I have a lot of thoughts on it. But my first question is, why Tim look like that in the back? Like Tim face, I always look at Tim because Tim face.
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly,
look at a certain way.
You can tell there's a lot of other things going on in the background, which I think that could be very distracting in itself. So, I mean, I don't take away from what you saw per se, but I don't think that it was much to read into it, considering right after the face, it looked like he moved his hand from around his wife, maybe touched something on his side, and then he just continued on to smile and nod on. I don't think it's too much to read into it. But what I will say in regards to her economic plan is, she said something in regards to the child tax credit, the $6,000. So essentially, by allowing families to have that additional $6,000 in their household, they can put that towards other things in the economy. So essentially, that's money that they have, $6,000 that they can use to buy and provide and buy into the economy. So I get exactly that whole notion. I know there's another clip of her talking about like the home ownerships and giving $25,000 to people for new homes and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of people would say that's ambiguous, but I would say that by giving people more funds to keep in their house, you essentially allow them to buy into the economy by giving them that extra money. So did it work for them? Yes, there were certain ways that it did work. And I mean, for some people that are of a certain income, it worked really well for people that have children, that are families, that needed that extra cushion when the Biden and Harris administration took over. So it's much to be still done. And I don't think you'll actually see the whole full picture of what they were trying to do or their goal economically because of the deficit that they inherited. So essentially, if they did not inherit such a deficit nor so a pandemic, I think the situation could have been different and it may have worked a little bit more in their favor. So essentially, Obama, when he was in office, he also inherited a debt as well. And it took him 8 years to provide Trump a surplus when he handed over this country to him, or when Trump won the election. And essentially on the counter, Biden-Harris administration inherited a debt. And they inherited a pandemic in which they had to do certain things and provide the American people of certain incentives so they can redrive the economic stature of this country. So does she have something going on there? It's possible, but some would say that will call inflation even more so. But I can also say the tariffs and taxing on imports could also do the same thing to some degree too. So that's my thoughts.
So all right, I want to speak to the point of, well, I guess I'll speak to your last point because I can remember that real frequent. The last point on the tariffs, right? Mm-hmm. The tariffs and taxes are actually what is supposed to be taxed, right? When people bring stuff into this country, right? Because every country does it, right? Right. You tax people on what they bring, right? And what they import into your country, the goods and things like that. That's right. What's supposed to be taxed. So I found it, weird that, they spoke about that because that was one of the things from the Trump administration that they kept, that they liked, because it made money. It definitely made money, and it makes sense to tax people and to tax to tax countries who want to import all their goods to us, especially places like China. China imports a lot of things, right? So it makes sense. Most of the stuff we have is made in China, right? So that made sense. So on one hand, they saying they don't like it in the media, right? But on the other hand, you keep it and you benefit from it because that adds to what you're doing. So that's something that I wish they would be honest about. Like, I'm okay if they say they don't like something, whatever, right? Each side always has something, whatever they don't like. But it is something that they're benefiting from.
It's something that can be benefited from, but on the flip side,
they benefit from still to this day.
But essentially, it can also cause a trickle-down effect where those same countries that we're charging higher or whatever can charge us more for imports that we receive from that. And that's fine. But that's why it can cause a trade war. So that's where it can be somewhat convoluted because of how it's like it's
But
beneficial,
that's why,
but it also comes with a trickle down effect.
but that's
So
why it's best if we do a lot of stuff in house. See, like China does a lot of stuff in house, right?
in-house, right.
And America used to do a lot of stuff in house, right? Before things like NAFTA sent jobs overseas, right? And even like most of the tech jobs right now are where? India. So you have American companies, and when you call the customer service, you're talking to somebody in Asia. You know what I mean? So things like that, and the auto industry, right? All of those things were here. So we didn't have to worry about that. But
right.
as soon as it started being, outsourced to other countries, now we have to deal with stuff like that. Yeah, it's the summer, child. It's getting
no, that's this fan.
yeah,
no, that's my fan.
So that's why I'm looking at that like that, because at the end of the day, you have to worry about your economics first, right? The other countries, they're going to tax us, yeah, and they should, right? China with the steel, it's just like we have a lot of those things here. Like America has one of the biggest oil exports, right? For what? When we have oil, we don't need to be over in Iran and all those other places in those countries, because we have it. We actually have it here, right? So that was one of the things that I was concerned about, because she was talking about she wasn't for fracking, and now she is for fracking, because it made sense in the first place. And that's why I'm saying, and this can go to anybody that ever runs from either side, right?
Right.
Things that make sense, just say they make sense. You still don't have to agree with the person all the way. But if something makes sense, something makes sense. Like, for one, Trump said that Obama's immigration policy made sense. He kept it. And he said it made sense. He kept it and doubled down on it.
Okay.
It made sense. So what I'm saying is, when you have something that makes sense, like, leave it for the American people. You can squabble about something else, but if something works for the people, it works for the people. Like, I just don't like the political round sometimes on either side. But then the other thing was, I want to say, when she got to talking about how she was going to pay for stuff. Okay. It is the same notion when the media started to talk about how Trump was going to pay for the wall. It is the same notion. Remember that whole thing. Well, how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for it? Right? Yeah. So if we're going to go deep into that, which he explained tons of times, and we all know how that works. But how are you going to pay for something that's tangible, and then how you going to pay for something that's not tangible, right? Because she's talking about price gouging. Price gouging, you cannot, you can absolutely not put an actual figure on it, because it's not something tangible. Half of the time, it doesn't even technically exist, and it doesn't come. Higher prices don't come from the fact that higher prices are causing inflation. Inflation comes before the higher prices. Inflation happens when you allow these private entities, like the Federal Reserve, which is a private bank. It's not a government bank, it's a private bank. When you allow the private bank to keep loaning a country money, it's a centralized bank. It loans the country money. So now we're in debt.
We've been in debt. We've been in debt.
So we've been in debt.
We were in debt.
We've only been in debt since, honestly and truly, since let me rephrase that. The 1930s is when it came into existence, right? They kept trying to get the central banking system out of here. That's what John F. Kennedy tried to do, and you see what happened. But once that was over with, John F. Kennedy, okay, LBJ put that back in place. So literally since the late 60s, we've been getting money from an actual private entity. Right. So we're just creating a debt cycle, and we've been working off of fiat currency. We're not on a gold standard. right?
Mm-hmm.
Our money's not backed by silver, any,
Right.
natural resources. So therefore, you're going to keep having this. I'm going to keep printing. I'm going to keep printing. I'm going to keep printing on a
Right.
fiat currency.
But
So
with
that has
being
nothing
said,
to do with what she's talking about.
right. But essentially, is it true or not true that Obama left this country in a surplus?
No, he didn't. He still had a
He
deficit.
did.
He did not have it. He did not have it.
He took this
We were
country
in
a bigger hole.
We were in 3 wars when Barack Obama left.
And we still made out better financially
Two
with
of them that
him
he
than
started.
Trump.
2 of them that he started, one that Bush started.
I mean, essentially, the one was a trickle down effect on all the other 2 that happened. So
they had a 7 country plan, and this is before Barack. This is before Bush.
Exactly.
Right?
But
they had a 7 country plan, but each president since that plan has enacted another country.
It's a trickle down effect.
No, I'm not talking about the effect of it. I'm talking about each one of them could have not done it. They decided to go in and invade these countries.
I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying to you is, one, it's a domino effect of them all. Nobody chose to say, let me whatever. Now, Trump, however,
was the only one that did not invade not one country. Not one.
He did Trump thing. And that's why a lot of people have like more whatever for him, because he did not go and do anything, and he then made whatever relationships with Putin and whatever the case may be. In theory, what I'm trying to say,
money on war. We got enough stuff here.
We do have a lot of stuff here. I'm not contesting that we don't have stuff here, yeah. But at the same time, we now what is the objective right now for this country? And that's the part where, for me, it's like we have a lot of problems in this country, but no one really has a solution, because either way, any solution that we choose, someone is going to get slighted in the process. If we go with my person, you're going to feel slighted because your things and your values are not heard, and vice versa. I can feel the very way same. But the thing where people have a problem with is assuming that what other people value is more like it's the same values that we have. Like, we don't share the same values. And that's the common denominator on how people choose to do things. And so that's why Obama, that's why Bush, that's why all those other people chose to go to war. That's why Trump didn't. Trump made sure that the stock market was good. He put many things in place. And if we want to go back to his wall, we can focus on the fact that they didn't want to pay for his wall. And as a result of them not wanting to pay for his wall.
Who are you talking about?
When they didn't give him the money, when Trump wanted to go through Congress to get the money for his wall, to get the wall built, okay? Mm-hmm. They didn't pass it. And as a result, he let the government shut down for the longest the government has been shut down. So
he let it shut down,
because he didn't want to sign the documents, because he didn't want to. He felt like that was his collateral. If I want my wall, or you're going to get the government is going to shut down. The government was shut down for 35 days. How many people were out of work, couldn't get any benefits?
How many times did this happen, though? When I was in school, it happened under the Democrats, it happened under the Republicans.
No, it has happened for a couple of days. This is the longest shutdown in history to this day. He had 2 government shutdowns on his watch. So in theory,
how many times all that shut down?
No. I hear a lot of stuff about Trump, but people keep saying why his wall didn't get this and why his wall didn't get that. As collateral, he didn't get what he wanted, so he let the government shut down, in which American people had to go without their jobs and certain benefits as a result of that. And I would have been one of them had I not left the government when I did. So how is that fair? That's like him looking out for himself in a sense, because it's like, oh, now granted, the wall is for everybody. He's not looking out for himself. It's for everybody. The wall might be that may be for everybody, but he allowed his ego to get ahead of what was right. No person should have been without a job because he couldn't get his wall, period.
So are you saying that anytime that happens, that is ego? Because if it shuts down, if it shuts down at any point, at any time, for a day, for an hour, for 3 minutes, is that
what is it? The thing about it is, what is the intention behind why?
But that's what I'm saying. Whatever you're speaking to, what is the intention behind it at all?
They were budgeting. The times where it was under. No, I mean the government has shut down for days.
Right, but I'm saying, what is like you're saying? What is the intention behind it? Anytime it happens,
the intention
what are they trying to do?
Certain cases, it wasn't.
They're trying to get a point across.
It was not always on the Democrats. It was on the Republicans as
well.
No,
I've already acknowledged that it's happened under Bush. It happened under Obama. I said that. So what I'm saying is, why does it happen?
Huh?
Why does it happen?
Why does it happen? Because there's not an agreement. There's not, people can't agree on passing certain things, and so therefore, if the budget is not passed. So, for instance, if the budget is not passed, based on however the numbers are worked, I'm not sure on the technicalities on why certain budgets are not passed. But when the budget is not passed, the government can be shut down. As a result of that, it's not
because during the fiscal year,
it's not always something
but they have a whole year. They have a whole year to enact these things. See, a lot of the times, either side will use that as a means to get a point, to get across a point, because you can literally do this fiscal budget anytime.
Okay.
Anytime. It doesn't have to be a last minute run. That is called a strategy. That's called a strategy.
I mean, it is a strategy, but the fiscal cycle ends at a certain point where if you don't meet it by that certain deadline, every October is shut down. So therefore, you can extend it out, in which Biden has done whatever to extend it. I believe it was like a risk earlier this year at some point. But most presidents have allowed it to not go into shutdown. They sign it, they do some type of an extension. Trump, however, is one of the first to let it go for 35 days. For 35 days for the wall. And guess what? He still don't got the wall. So my thing is, you had all these people out of work for 35 days because you couldn't get your wall, only to put them back in work to still not have a wall. For all that, you didn't have to allow the government to shut down. And so you can't sit here and say that you're for the people when I don't know how many people. I can look on here and see how many people were affected by that. So don't say you're all for your wall when you could have extended it and said, hey, we're going to have to find a way to tighten up these numbers. He chose not to. So that's why he didn't get no wall.
Okay,
that's why our immigration situation is. That's why now, when it came time when they made a bipartisan agreement earlier this year, that's why he told his Republican buddies not to sign off on that bill. And to wait
okay. So I'm glad. Okay,
we can talk about it.
Hold on, we're gonna talk about that. Hold on. We're gonna talk about that point. So what you're talking about right there, right? Because now you're moving the conversation forward.
Sorry.
What you're talking about right there is the inflation plan, right? That it was 50-50 in the House, right? I mean, in the Senate, I'm sorry. It was 50-50. And Kamala Harris broke the tie, right? So, because the vice president could do that, right? And so when you go to look at most of the stuff that has happened under the Biden administration, the Biden administration is the outside of the pandemic, the Biden administration actually did it or caused it. Let's go to the borders. Let's go to the borders. When you just said he did all this stuff, he did because he wanted to do the wall, yada yada yada, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. They reversed anything that Trump had put into place under immigration, right? Only to come back later and say, oh yeah, we actually need this. Can you help us?
Same with Obamacare.
Hold on, wait. Hold on. No,
you just called it Trump care.
You just said the wall was racist. I don't know how a wall can be racist, but the wall is racist. When you can't go into right now, there are Americans in Mexico, right? Because America is too high for them. There are Americans that are working virtually in Mexico. Mexico decided to do what? Deport their asses. Why? Because it's causing the communities that the Americans are going to and taking their money and spending all this money. It causes an imbalance. Their pesos can't keep up with the American dollars. So now all the people in those communities are like, hey, this is putting stress on our communities. Well, what is that the migration doing to American communities? the same exact thing, because the jobs, if you look at the jobs report that's getting ready to come out, right, the jobs that people have been getting have not gone to Americans. They have gone to migrants. And that is a fact. So the wall would have benefited all Americans, just like when Barack Obama was in and he was the deporter in chief. He said that y'all have to be deported. Y'all, this can't happen. The only people who decided that it was racist and that we should have open borders was Biden and Harris.
Oh, I thought you said I don't.
No, I said the only people that decided.
I didn't say it was racist.
The only presidential cabinet that decided that immigration should be open was Biden and Harris. So all of that is their fault. It has nothing to do with Trump. It don't have nothing to do with Obama.
The immigration stuff. Okay, even still, the issue is the issue that we've had for however long in our country. This is not a new issue for Biden or Harris. The reality is this. I respect where you're coming from, where people say, oh, they've had 3-4 years, however the case may be. However, when you know that they have put a plan in place earlier this year and they put together a plan to take care of this issue, I think it was not even last year, they had a bipartisan committee come together to create an immigration plan that will be suitable for both Republicans and for Democrats and for all of the American people. Trump advised the Republicans not to sign off on it because he knew that it would benefit Biden. So this is him once again holding something as collateral for his own benefit.
Congress can vote how they want.
No, it is.
And they
That's
usually
the
do.
That's what he do. That's what he do. He's all for himself. And the sooner
Congress
y'all
can
realize
vote how
it, the
they
sooner
want,
y'all
and they
can get a
usually
little
do.
bit ahead in life. Because y'all are like listening to this guy who is for himself.
The president does not make the rules, though. Congress does. Congress does. The president does not. Congress does, and Congress decide not to do it because
but that was his people that also agreed not to sign off on his wall. So it's not
how many times has the Democratic Congress not decided to do something?
He had a Republican Congress,
but Congress, but the Democratic Congress decides not to do things tons of times. Like, matter of fact, when it comes to the Democratic Congress, there's a bunch of stuff that they could have got through under Barack Obama when the Congress was all Democratic, and they did not absolutely one thing, one thing. No, no. When I say immigration, immigration they could have did. They didn't do it. Right? It's always a fight with immigration because we have a Republican this or we have a Democratic this. Right? They had all of that. You know what bill they decided to focus on? You know what they decided to focus on?
Go ahead.
LGBT. That's it.
Huh?
That's what they decided to focus.
Because that was the issue that was who made their demands known. That's who.
But I'm saying the rest of the LGBT community is a small subset in a grand scheme. So you mean to tell me you have all of these issues and you decide to focus on a pinpoint?
I got you. But we also have gone down a list of things that you said. Oh. See, that's because you ain't right. That's because you ain't all the way right. I'm trying to tell you. Oh,
they decided to focus on a small issue.
Come on, my side is good. See, devil don't like all that you talking.
No, that's that though. It's the record. It's the record. They could have fixed it and they did not. And they had the whole Congress.
You can't sit here and say 1 minute that Obama was the deporter in chief. Then
no. I said he deported them. What I'm saying is the immigration law is always an issue in government. So what I'm saying is why they had the entire government, they had the White House, they had the Senate, they had the House. They could have did whatever they wanted to. They chose to focus on none of that. They chose to focus on. I can literally pull up everything that they did. And they did not focus on immigration. They didn't make any immigration laws. They did not focus on. They did not focus on housing because we know how housing went under Barack Obama.
But you can't say he was the deporter in chief.
No, I'm saying he was for. No, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying he was. That's two different things. I'm saying he's for deportation. That's why they call him deporter in chief, because he said, hey, they're starting to come across the border like a lot. Right. So So let's ramp up. Keep keep it on deporting them instead of them just coming across the border. That's not an immigration law. What I'm saying is, even under Bush, immigration was an issue, right? Because there's always a back and forth with the law. So what I'm saying is, whatever law the Democrats wanted to set, any law,
I get what you're saying.
They would have had no pushback because everything was Democratic.
But now there is one. But now there is one as a result. So because that's why everybody is hooping and hollering over the things that Biden.
All I'm trying to get you to understand is, like, if me and you don't agree on a point, and then I get another person that's a conservative or independent, and I'm like, oh, well, then me and you could just do it together, and we don't have to worry about the other person. I will go ahead and do that because I ain't got to worry about whatever they talking about.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. Like, that would make more sense if I actually got, and that was the first time that had ever actually happened. So I'm just like, you have the House, you have the White House, you have the Senate. Why not do everything that you said that the Republicans be blocking, be doing all? You could have did it. Nothing.
I mean, I believe he had it the second term, not the first term. They gave him a hard way to go the first term, and I believe the second term Obama started just saying, "Fuck it, I'm here."
Second,
so I mean, but
it.
Even still. Yeah, I mean, I respect where you're coming from in the whole immigration law, but now at this point that there is something in place, we're not even 100% sold on that because everyone is like, the immigrants, the migrants get to come over here and get bam, bam, bam. So even that, now that we have something in place for them, people are still not satisfied with that. So
what do we have in place for them? What do you mean?
I mean, people. I mean, I'm talking about in regards to people saying, "Oh, they get $6,000 to come here and they can do whatever."
Yeah, they shouldn't get anything. They shouldn't get anything.
Right. So that's what I'm referring to. So essentially, with that in place, people are still hooping and hollering about that. And I mean, I can understand how some people can feel some type of way about that. But the one thing, actually, I'm gonna see what you're gonna say next because I'd rather stay on topic.
No, you're fine. My thing is this, and then I'm a pivot to Kamala's pinpoints. So my only thing on that is to say, it's one thing, if this was okay. Let's take an example like Haiti, right? And they actually tried to come over here, and Biden used tax resources to wrangle them all up and send them back to Haiti. So that showed me that they could if they wanted to. But see, when you don't do that, when you do it to one group and you don't do it to the other, that tells me that you want that other group here. That tells me that there's an actual agenda for that. Because why not would the Haitians be able to stay, who's actually having an actual war, civil war, whatever you want to call it over there, genocide, all types of things is going over in Haiti, failed state, all of that, right?
Yeah.
Why not help the Haitians that came over here? Because your borders are wide open. So everybody's coming over here, but you decided to focus in on the Haitians. Why? Because you don't want that group here. You want a certain type of group.
Say that. I wouldn't say.
Why would you? Okay, so if you don't want the Haitians, why did he wrangle them all up at the border? Because I don't see him wrangling up no Nicaraguans. I don't see him wrangling up no Venezuelans, and I don't see him wrangling up no Mexicans.
I mean, I can't answer his logic.
Oh, and he's supposed to be for minority. So why the blackest people that are coming across the border, you decide to put them all on a plane and keep them all in a certain confined area? And we've all seen the pictures of them sending out all of these people, ICE,
right.
gather them all up. So you tell me that this group, who is technically black, actually black,
so
you wrangle them up and you chartered an actual plane at the plane. But you don't do it for the Venezuelans.
I got you on this one. So in theory, me or you don't know the answer to that question, nor can we come up with a.
But if it was Trump, you would say it was racist. That is
because Trump showed his hand. The difference is,
but is that not racist? I'm asking you, a white man doing that that's not racist.
Listen, Trump tells himself. Trump tells on himself. It's the
So
difference.
because Joe Biden didn't say anything.
No, every pre-thought I have about Trump, it wasn't based on hearsay. It's stuff if he said out his own mouth. I don't need to watch the Fox News or go on Truth Social. Well, I will see his post on Truth Social. But the reality is this: everything that I dislike about Trump is not based on somebody else's opinion. It is not even based on some of his policies. It's based on the character of the man that he is. It has nothing to do with that. My thing is this: if I know you're a killer and you got $1 billion, am I going to vote for you, the killer, because you have $1 million, or am I going to have some integrity on what I choose to vote for? So in theory, we can talk about that. Biden sent all the Haitians.
That's what I'm asking. Why would he only touch the black? Why would he only touch the black immigrants?
But you can't make an assumption like that.
I can, because this is what I see.
But you can't, though, because
remember how you just said, okay, remember how you just said it's not about nobody else's thought, right? This is not about nobody else's thought. This is actually what I saw. I saw him go above and beyond to get, I saw him go above and beyond to charter. Yes, he actually
did you
said,
hear him say out his mouth that,
these people cannot come over here. He said these people cannot come over here.
You heard him say, the Mexicans are like I think the Mexicans are more welcoming because they're lighter, and I'm going to send the blacker Haitians back to Haiti. Like, I don't think that's the
I don't need him to do that. Just like Malcolm X said, I don't need the Fox.
You don't need that.
Tell me. I don't need the Fox to tell me that he's trying to eat me. I don't need the Fox to tell me that he's trying to eat me. I saw him literally send black people back. And right now we have, right now we have what? Over 6 million immigrants that came across, and they're all from countries that are not black, like Haiti.
Okay, and so
that tells me you don't have to say out your mouth. If I hire you, and I treat you different than the white, if I hire you and I treat you different than the white women, right? And I hired you. And I treat you totally different than the white women, and I'm a white woman, and the same thing that they do, I don't yell at them about it, but I yell at you about it, right? But I never expressed to you that I don't like black people. I've never expressed that to you, right? You never heard any of that out of my mouth, but you can physically see that I'm treating them differently than you, Jules. You're not dumb by far. You can see it. You don't have to hear it.
I can see things on both sides. That's why some stuff, like if I see something on Trump's side that is the same as on Biden's side, I can't speak on either one. You know why? Because they cancel each other out. So I can't speak on racism with Biden or racism with Trump, because
that would have been a migrant crisis. That's an actual migrant crisis.
But it's migrants.
Venezuela is not a migrant crisis. Those people voted for that nonsense.
You holding Biden and Harris. But holding Biden and Harris to this whole one notion of migrant problem is
they're in office. You hold Trump to a whole bunch of stuff. They're in office right now.
Where's his law? Where's his law?
Where's my law?
If Trump was so good, why wasn't he reelected? If Trump policies and everything he did was so great, why is he not still in office right now? He'll be finished out his term.
That's fine. That's the American way. If you didn't like him, you vote him out.
It's not about him.
That's the American way. If you don't like him, you vote him out.
But it wasn't.
You know why I don't argue about Trump being out? You know why I don't argue about Trump being out? Because that is the American way. You win some, you lose some. But guess what? Everything that was under him, y'all attach to him. Y'all won't attach what's happening under Biden to Biden. That is the problem.
I've attached Biden to Biden's problems, but I realized
the migrant crisis is Biden's problem. This did not happen under Trump.
Biden problems came from Trump. Trump problems became Biden problems. Let's just face the facts.
No, because if you're going to say
every president that comes into office inherits the other presidents' problems, or
right, but it's about what you do with it. And when immigration was an issue, when people were saying it was an issue, Trump said, I got a solution for it. Let's just go ahead and build a wall. right? When immigration rolled over to Joe Biden, you know what Joe Biden said? That is racist. Let these people in. This is they're coming over here for seeking asylum. Half of them people are working. Half of them people are working. Half of them people are our age and younger. They are working people. They're not seeking asylum. They know where free money is. They know where free money is. And I would be coming over here too.
By them. Guess what? When we talk about black jobs, some of the people, the jobs that the migrants have, black people
I would come over here too.
Let's just be
real.
Free
money.
Huh?
This is free money.
No, but even
I would come over
the
here
jobs
too.
that the migrants have, Mika, some of the black people are not working those jobs like that.
That's not true. That is not true. That is not true.
It's the reality. They're not.
That is not true.
Black people are not working all those jobs that
is not true.
No, it's just the reality. It's the reality. I'm not trying to be funny. It's just the reality and the nature of what the world we living in. So, I mean, we can sit here and talk about that until we blue in the face. But the reality is this, like each president inherits the other president's debt or however that may be. And sometimes I get
that what you're saying. I agree with you on the point that you do inherit, you know, good or bad, right? From the president before, right? But what I'm saying to that point is once you get in, it is up to you on how you deal with the situation. Just because if I buy a house from you, right, and I get an inspection of the house, I know what's either going good with the house or going wrong with the house. Correct. And I decided to buy it, right? Okay, cool. I can't now go and say, well, this is messed up because of the previous owner. No, this is your house. And you knew what was wrong with the house. So what are you going to do to fix it? You on the campaign trail, this is what you said what's wrong with the house, right? So you knew all this stuff was wrong. Now go and fix it. So what I'm saying is when you look on the Trump side coming from Obama, we were in wars, just like Trump. Just like Obama was coming from Bush, he had a war, and then Barack Obama inherited that, but then he tacked on his own wars, right? He invaded Yemen, right? They had Libya, right? So you got all this stuff going on, right? Barack Obama did the drone strikes, right? Just a ton of stuff, but that was on him. That didn't come from Bush. That was
no. I respect that part. I'm not going to acknowledge that.
So now you have those two things combined. So now Trump has to take what came from Bush and what came from Barack, right? And Barack had 8 years, so that's like 3 presidents, right? Okay, so now he has to take all of that. Well, Trump stopped every last one of those. We haven't invaded a country since Trump was in. We got out of all those wars. That's why everybody was pissed off when we started giving to what is that? Ukraine. It makes no sense. We had got out of these stupid wars. Like I keep telling you, I don't care about Republican or Democrat. We shouldn't have been in. We should not have been
was attacked. So it wasn't like.
But that has nothing to do with us. That has nothing to do with us. I know, but that has nothing to do with us. They're over there because no, the United States has been trying to get into. The United States has been trying to get. It's been trying to get at Russia since the Cold War. Okay, so having an ally with Ukraine puts them closer at it. Just like the reason why we back you know who, because it is a partner in the Middle East, because nobody else in the Middle East messes with America. So therefore, that is your only ally. It goes deeper.
You're saying you're fine with the Putin ally?
No. I'm saying the reason why America is aligning with Ukraine, it has nothing to do with us. We should not be giving $100 billion of our money, right? Because nobody ever comes to the rescue of America.
No,
right?
You're right.
So we shouldn't be giving $800 billion of our money when we have problems. Our people are sick. Our people are homeless, right? Like $800 billion. We could have cured a whole bunch of stuff.
No, I respect that.
And counting. He was just here a couple weeks ago. So all I'm saying is, if you really want to, and let's be clear, and I'll give Democrats this, right? Because I also give Republicans this. But the reason why, if you look outside of everything else, every president, Democrat or Republican, has gone along with the military industrial complex, right? They've been, Eisenhower talked about it, right? They've been just going along with it, feeding it. War after war. We're always in war. If you look at every presidency, we're always in war. We're always in war, right? Because that's the military machine. Trump is the only president that was like, nah. That is a big monster to go up against, to tell the military industrial complex that feeds off of the money they take from us taxpayers, right? Okay. That's a big thing to tell them, no, we're not going into war. Oh, they're going to get you up out of here. They're going to get you up out of here because you're now threatening the very thing that the central banks that got JFK up out of here, right? And Trump talks about taking away the IRS. That is a private entity along with the private banks. I don't care if he was racist to the 99th degree. Okay. They don't give a damn about that. All them people are racist. They care about your fucking with the money. That's what they care about.
Okay, so without these taxes, and I think you said making money off of like the sales tax and the import tax. Okay. So even with those things, like how are we supposed to cover some of the expenses that this country has? Like who's going to make sure those things are taken care of if those programs are not in existence? If we get rid of if we pretty much disband the federal government, if we disband the IRS, if we disband the Department of Education, what are those things? What does that look like in place of those things? Because I mean, I hear a lot of things about what Trump is trying to get rid of, but I don't really see him discussing a solution as to what is he going to put in place of that.
Well, he does. And so I'll state it really quick. So if you get rid of IRS, right, which we've already talked about, you get rid of the IRS, of course, one, federally, that's probably for just an average person a month, that's probably about $2,000 back in your pocket to do whatever it is you're doing, right? So you don't have the federal taxes, right? You have your state taxes, and then you have your county and things like that, the property taxes, right? The property taxes are actually what's paying for your school. Like it's not coming from the IRS, the federal.
I understand that.
So everything that we're already doing in our everyday life, that's why I always stress the state level, because those taxes outside of DC, because DC takes taxes from all the states. Outside of DC, our state taxes are paying for our daily lives. Them property taxes, that's why California is hurting right now, because California taxes are through the roof and nobody's buying any of their properties because those properties are insanely high. Right. So they're not getting the property tax that they're used to getting.
So you get rid of federal tax, and who's paying for the programs and the things that we need, like our military? Who's paying our military? Like, if we don't have IRS, we don't need military.
No, we need military, but we had military before income tax. The only time we had to pay the income tax was for when they needed to fund that those world wars.
Right.
In a world war.
But the world wars,
the wars that we're in are called proxy wars. We don't need to be in those wars.
I mean, but some of the wars that we've had have been beneficial for our country.
We have not. America has not had any wars outside of the world wars. We have been attacked. We have been doing what's called invasions. Iraq, and that was called the Iraq invasion.
So Pearl Harbor
was not okay. So Pearl Harbor is not a war. Pearl Harbor was when the Japanese supposedly bombed us.
Right, and then we bent back, and then bam.
Okay, but that was when and what?
That was like 1945.
Okay, so those were the ones that I was talking about. I'm talking about Vietnam. I'm talking about Desert Storm. I'm talking about Afghanistan. I'm talking about Iraq, right? And you go look at all of those. And then you go look at the unclassified documents, because they have to unclassify these documents at a certain time. And these are all proxy wars. These are all just invasions. They're not
Right.
actual wars. Like I said, the World War I, World War II, right? That's the stuff you're talking about.
Right.
Those are not what we have. What we're doing is invading other countries and then having.
That's exactly. So what I'm saying to you is, even now, our country has been dependent on federal, doing our federal taxes and depending on those fines, however, to fund the federal government in a sense. So at this point, has the federal government been beneficial to this country aside from the wars? Yes, in many ways, yes. So disbanding that and getting rid of that.
We're not saying disband.
But I mean, if the government, the same way you mentioned the list of things, how our state government, state taxes are being used, I'm pretty sure. Now, I'm not trying to. This is what I will say. When it comes to the federal government and how the funds are being used is one thing, but to get rid of the federal government and to get rid of the IRS seems a bit.
Well, no, we're not saying get rid of the federal government.
You're saying to get rid of the
federal government, you know.
But it's ambiguous to do that at this point. But my thing is this, and I respect the ideally people want to pay less in taxes and however the case may be.
But it's not supposed to be there. Period.
It should not be there.
You can't build something. What I'm saying is, you can't. It's not an idea if it's not supposed to be there. If I'm not supposed to be taking money out of your, like, you my mom. Let's just say you my mom, and I'm taking money out your wallet. I'm not supposed to be doing that. So now, when you stop me from taking money out your wallet, I'm like, well, I can't pay my car note. I'm not supposed to be taking money out your wallet.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to pay my taxes. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, because at the end of the day, I ain't trying to get audited, and I ain't trying to have to go through all the legal because
I get audited every year.
It's illegal to, like, there's some like, I mean, as much as you can say it's illegal for the IRS to take our money, that is probably like a misconception that a person would need to do some research on before they say IRS. No.
It's illegal. It's illegal to. The IRS is only, well, not the IRS. The income tax is only to be instituted in times of war, right? What I'm saying is they never put a sunset clause on it. So if I say, Jules, I'm going to take from your bank account because I gotta go fight, and you say, oh, okay, and then I say, yeah, and when the war is over, I won't take from your bank account no more, and you say, okay, cool, but the war is over, and I never took your account off of my account. So now every year, even though the fight that I've been fighting has been over, I keep taking from your account. But you done forgot all about it. And so I just keep
your point of why there's been a war every year. I get your notion.
Yes. And there you have
I get your notion.
Yes, ma'am. That's my point.
That's your point. Well, if that were the case, like you said, your guy Trump, he put it into certain things. But at the end of the day, sometimes people outweigh the good and the bad with him. And I mean, even if he did do that one thing right, when you do one thing right, and then the bad outweigh the good that you've done, unfortunately, somehow
I can deal with the fact if you don't like him. I told you, I can deal with the fact of whatever you think about him. But there are certain things that are there that benefits everybody, and those taxes are one of them, because it's unconstitutional what they're doing to everybody. And what people don't understand is when you have, it's almost like Kanye, when you have somebody that is in the inside that knows certain things and they're telling you, that's never a good thing for the system or the establishment, because the same people that set up, and we're going to pivot to this, the same people that set up on the DNC the last couple of nights talking about how much money with this, how much money with that, are the same people that make money. And I do mean 300, 400, 500 million off the backs of the same middle class people. Because Nancy Pelosi ain't no chump when it comes to money.
Right.
Chuck Schumer ain't no chump when it comes to money.
The difference between the Republicans is they make a lot of money and don't show that they care about the middle class.
Nancy Pelosi ain't paid a tax dollar in probably 70 years? Was she like 99?
I'm just gonna be saying, like, it's like, oh, the Republicans show no interest in the middle class.
Old taxes.
But the Republicans show no interest in the middle class.
I'm sorry?
I said, but yet the Republicans show no interest in the middle class. They even showed how they hope to restore the middle class. There's nothing.
Okay. Yes, they have. However, again, I'm not beholden to a party. I'm beholden to them policies. And yes, they make more policies that okay. So let's go to because it's actually aligns with it. Let's go to the housing, right? So Kamala's one of her things on her plan was housing, right? And we all remember 2008 and how that worked out. Now, granted, it was from his previous Democrat, right? Bill Clinton and his Glass-Steagall Act, right? Which he knew how it was going to be, but he wasn't going to be in office, so it didn't even matter. But at the end of the day, it was under Barack Obama, right? So under that, we watched all the subprime and all the housing stuff go awry, right? Bailout of the banks, the too big to fail banks, all that other good stuff. Okay. Kamala is talking about something that I think she don't even know what she's saying, because she's saying that she's going to provide a 25K tax credit, right? Well, not tax credit. Well, yeah, it's tax credit. It's a credit to first-time home buyers. But what a lot of people didn't do is actually read under there, because they like to put these nice big bulletins. But in there it says first generation. Who's usually first generation? It's not Black people that have been over here since 400-500 years, right? They're not first generation anything. It's definitely not the English, and them. They've been here since, right? So who are they talking about? That would be first generation. It's usually an immigrant, and of course she understands that because her family is immigrants, right? So the language is what I'm telling you that you have to watch. And to the 25K. If you know anything about housing and builders, they give credits, right? I almost bought a Syntex, I think it was Syntex, Caruso, one of them properties. I almost bought one of those homes, and they were given, the credits, and you can get another house, a part of the house, whatever with it. But they will give you those credits, and then you can get something from the seller for closing and yada yada yada, right? All right. What she knows that she's not telling her, her constituents or people that are going to vote for her, is that the sellers and the builders, they're just going to tack it onto the price of the house, essentially raising the price of the house. So technically, they got free money. Not you.
I mean, I can't. Okay, so what I will say is this: the Biden-Harris administration already did something like this for bailing out homeowners after the pandemic, which they allowed homeowners.
What do you mean by
I'm about to tell you. I got you. What they did was they gave homeowners, any homeowner, if you were behind on your mortgage after the pandemic, you were allowed. Each household was allowed up to $25,000 towards mortgage assistance. Okay, that money was there for at least a year and a half. I think the funds probably ran out last year. But in that initiative, do you know how many people's households and families that were saved as a result of that? Are we aware of how many people that actually benefited from the America Rescue Plan? We need to start thinking of, like, as much as we can talk about every single problem.
Are we aware of it, or are they aware of it?
No, I'm very aware of how.
What I'm saying when I say are they aware of it, meaning like the numbers, are they actually putting those numbers up? I don't need to be aware of it. They need to be aware of it. So they need to show me how many people it actually benefited and who they gave it to.
No, I mean the numbers are there. So I mean, I'm
But
almost
the
positive those
demographics
things, and the
matter.
reason why
Like
is because
who
I
got
was
it?
able to personally benefit from that, because my father had passed away in the pandemic, and I had to pay his hospital bills as well as some other the nursing home bills, and as a result, it put my household at a and behind situation in which we're still in a pandemic. So yes, I was able to benefit from that. So if we were to talk about one person, it would be me to start
Yeah,
off.
but one doesn't constitute the
I'm not
country.
speaking. I mean, but essentially, it's a lot. Each state was allotted the homeowners assistance fund. Every state was given a certain amount of money to bail out homeowners that had lost their jobs or loss of income or lost a family member due to the pandemic. Was that beneficial? Yes, it was. So, I mean, I can harp about a lot of the problems that Kamala and the Biden-Harris have done, but I would be remiss to not sit here and talk about all the wonderful things they did and how many changes they made.
We have to talk about what she's. But we have to talk about what she's pushing. Like she's also pushing,
right?
Yeah, because she's trying to be president, right? So
I got you. But we also have to understand.
You have to dissect that.
Yeah, but the same way we went through Trump's track record and the positives of him is the same way I'm going to push the narrative of the positive things that Kamala has done. So we're going to talk about the things.
That's fine.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the things that she's putting forth. I'm only giving you an example of the things that she's already done to support the things that I know she will do.
Right, but so I'm talking about with this though, because you just stated earlier that you don't like adding to the deficit.
Right. But like she said, like she says,
this is going to add to a deficit. This is not free money. This is going to add to a deficit.
It's going to add to a deficit in a sense of
it's going to add to a deficit. My thing is this: you take money, you're going to add to a deficit.
Okay, but when you put if you got 25 down on a house, essentially that makes your interest rate and amongst your principal balance goes down.
Interest rate up. Go ahead.
So essentially that interest, it will drop your interest rate the more you put down when you go and get a home. Yes or no?
Correct? No, it drops the price of the house. The interest rate
drops the price of the house, and depending on the credit, your interest rate will drop as well.
The credit, and that's the crazy part. The credit had the interest rate is set by the federal. That's the problem I have with it overall. I was gonna get there, but that's why I say I'm glad you brought it up. The interest rate, okay, but it's set by the Federal Reserve. It's an astronomical amount right now, 6.4, right? And so you're telling a person if they need $25K for a house, ma'am, they cannot afford a house. I'm telling you that right now. If they need $25K, because just a 20% down payment on a house, right?
Right.
Okay, in a conventional mortgage, you got people out here getting 40-year mortgages on a 6.4%. Like they're gonna pay that till they die. I can assure you. If you were 20, you would be damn near paying that to you're 50 something. Okay, so what I'm saying is they understand. Maybe not her, but the people who draft this stuff, they understand the economics of it and how it don't really work. It sounds nice. Anytime somebody says, I'm going to help you, right? Like a payday place says, hey, you don't got no money? I can give you money to your next check. But they don't tell you that it's at a 20% interest rate. And how you going to be paying them astronomical money that you didn't pay them $2,500 when you only bought $500.
I mean, quite frankly, I anticipate seeing more details drafted on that. I mean, that doesn't particularly affect me. I was essentially, I didn't necessarily want to benefit off that homeowners association fund, but I mean, it came to me at a time when I needed it and it helped. And I think that sometimes people forget that some people are doing really good in life and some people are doing not so good. And then you have people that are in the middle that are trying to do really good. And then they have shortcomings that come and they rely, you know what I'm saying? Like, why should that person just not have nothing because of their situation when they've worked really, really hard, but just got into an unfortunate situation? And I think like the things that I've gone through in my life have humbled me to understand that at one moment you could be at the top of your game, and at any moment you can lose it all. And so therefore, when I'm here, I want to look out for the people down here, because I don't know when my life is ever going to put me in this position. So that's where I come from with a lot of the things that I'm thinking about. And unfortunately, yes, people will go and get a high interest rate on loan because they look at it like, okay, I need, like for instance, those payday loans. People will go and get a payday loan, and
but where do they put them? Where do they put them, Julie?
But my point in saying that is,
I'm just saying, where do they put those type of places?
What type of places?
They put them where they know people are financially illiterate.
Well, not only that, they don't just put them there where people are financially illiterate.
There's not one here. There's not one here. You know why? Because I know better. So they know if a community is downtrodden, they put those there. They're there on purpose.
But that's not just. But I mean, that's just like the nature of the game. That's marketing on these different companies that do that. That's not like we can.
Yeah, because they know know if you're downtrodden, they know you're going to get desperate. That's my point. So what I'm saying is, it's better. I'm just coming from the standpoint of, yes, people need help. I never said don't have any social programs, right? What I am saying is to only focus year after year on social program. Well, how about actually focus on literacy, right? How about actually focus on actually showing people how to get their own fish, instead of you just keep giving them a fish. No, the I'm saying what the Democratic Party does. The Democratic Party doesn't want you to actually focus on learning how to fish, because you're not going to come back. You like the Democratic Party because it helps. I get something. I get it, right? But if I actually taught you how to actually fish and you don't need me no more, why are you coming back to me? Most black people are actually waking up to that point, because there's more black businesses starting. There's more black people actually starting to wake up to that point. And that's why they're changing the demographics of the country, because there are not the black people, for the most part, are actually either not voting as much Democrat, becoming independents, and even looking the other way, which you should, because you shouldn't be monolithic and holding to one place.
You shouldn't.
But at the same time, they knew that, just like those payday loan places know that these people are downtrodden. And if I put it here, you're gonna keep coming. Instead of me just saying, hey, I'll give you the money, but let me teach you how to hustle. Let me teach you how to get this so you can so you can get up on your own. I'm not saying you don't give somebody welfare, but hey, the 5 years you're gonna be on welfare, let me get you a trade. Let me show you how to do this, so you ain't gonna keep coming back on this damn welfare.
Okay, so a lot of the Republicans actually want to get rid of a lot of those social programs in which you're talking about right now, but I haven't heard any Republican talk about any ways to come up with ways to teach these people how to fish. They keep talking about, oh, you pretty much should have fish. You like, this is the Republican mindset. Well, I have fish, or you should have fish. They're not showing people how to get fish either. I can get a Democrat's credit because at least they're giving people a pool to actually, or a pond to go in to go fishing. Now, whether or not how they get to that pond, that's on each individual to do the research that they need to do to get to those ponds. But I will honestly say, I have never heard a Republican. I have never heard a Republican dish out social information to help this public. I have never one time heard them talk about anything that will build the community. So we're going to go to the whole DNC, because we saw a plain example of that in regards to how they had energy. I know it was long. I know it was a whole lot of things that happened, because there are some downsides. I'm not oblivious to the fact that it was long as hell, and Joe came on there that's your stroke of midnight for Easterners, but for someone else in the West Coast, they will say he was on time.
I appreciate that announcement.
Yeah, so I will respect where it is, but there's an energy that's in the DNC, and the one thing that spoke out to me, and honestly, I started to cry, which was like the abortion rights, and how that young girl was raped by her stepfather. And I think that as much as we can say Trump is a lot of things or whatever, like he can be a lot of good things, but when you take that right away from a woman, you're doing a disservice to this country. You're doing a disservice to the women in this country. And I think that we need to stop belittling the women's rights of this and the reproductive things that people and women have to go through. Every day there's a woman that either loses their child, that can't get pregnant and needs some type of assistance and stuff like that, to take that away. And you say you're pro-life, you're pro-family. To me, it's a contradiction in itself. And so to see the DNC showcase that in a way in which it was tasteful and elegant, and a way in which people were able to feel how they wanted to feel from that, I was very appreciative. And then last night, which I missed most of it, but I heard like people were saying that it was blacked out and that this was a black affair because they had all this other stuff going on. Some people, I mean, I saw some white people that put on there, this is too black for me. You know, with some racial comments that came out. Amber Rose made a statement about whatever, because she's like being sarcastic, like, oh, DJ Cassidy, oh, this person and that person. But I'm like, Amber Rose, aren't you a celebrity? And
well, DJ Cassidy isn't black, but yeah, I know. I said I can understand what you're saying, but DJ Cassidy isn't black. He's
no, but I'm just saying, like, she made a pun to the whole. Oh, I see DJ Cassidy was there, and I see they brought out Little John, and it's like,
oh, okay. So she's basically saying that they're playing up a factor, because if you have Cassidy, who's in the hip hop community, you have Little John, who's in the hip hop community.
Yeah, so
it would be essential if you only bring out country artists, you'd be trying to play to.
But I mean, it was nothing for her to come out. It was nothing for Kid Rock to come out. It was nothing for Hulk Hogan to come out. So it's like, please don't call the kettle black when you ain't did everything right on your side. So, I mean, honestly and truthfully, I want Amber to just like, honey, just go take care of your sons, go back to doing your day job, get the tattoo removed off your forehead, because quite frankly, I can't really take you seriously. So aside from that, to stay back on whatever, like the DNC to me, I loved the Obamas last night. Everyone rallied around them. And I think that to see, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't care how anybody feel, whether you're black, white, Republican, independent. To me, if I were watching them and they were my enemies, I would look like, damn, like they look like this is really dope to see the type of energy, to see this history in the making. And that was what I took from that. Was the history in it, to see the first, second gentleman, or however, what is it, the first gentleman speak on his wife. And, you know, there's so much stuff around that, and how he talked about how she's blended their family. And I think they played on a lot of different parts. And I think, quite frankly, like Michelle was just like, I know I said when they go low, we go high. But honestly, Michelle was like, we going to hell, when she made that statement, when she said the black job. Like when she made the statement of like, does Donald Trump know that the job he's applying for is a black job? And I thought that was.
To me, and I'll speak to the DNC. To be honest, I keep saying I don't know why y'all want Kamala when you have other people that are actually black and qualified as far as Democrats go, right? You have plenty of those. You have plenty of those. To pick Kamala is just wild to me. But I don't make no reservation that Michelle Obama is not a good speaker. Like, she's a very good speaker, right? And you would want to be able to speak to your base, constituents, whatever you want to call it, right? And she's able to do that. I would too. Would have her speak, right? Like, and if you go to the Republican side, Vivek speaks all the time because he's a very good speaker. He's able to speak and articulate his points, Republican points, up very well, right? So I didn't have a problem with Michelle Obama speaking. So yeah, I thought she spoke to her base very well, right? I'm not a Democrat, but if I was, I would be happy that she spoke. I mean, like, here's the thing, like, I could critique people all day. I could not like them. I could whatever. One thing I do a lot is I always look at where people are coming from, even if I don't agree with it. I can understand it. Like, so if I can look and say, if I was a Democrat, would I like this? Yes, I would. I definitely would. And like I said, she's a great speaker, and I think the Democrats probably missed the mark with not putting her on.
But you
Like,
gotta, I mean,
you know why she doesn't want to do it? Because
Politics
she knows the BS. Like what I tell you, but I'm not
Pretty
going to talk
straightforward,
about
yeah.
on my podcast to get me shut down. That's what Michelle knows. Okay, she don't want to
Yeah,
deal with
no,
the
we gonna
she
do
don't
that,
deal with that BS.
But
However,
you don't want it.
right. So what I'm saying is there are other qualified women, and to me, it ain't Kamala, and that's been my whole point. There are way more qualified women that you could throw up there, and Kamala ain't it. But just to the DNC point last night, to me, for the last 3 days, I will say that as far as the energy factor, as as far as their convention, they have been, they've been hype, rally, all that around each other, and that's perfectly fine, right? I have no problem with that. All of them do it, Republicans, whatever, right? That's not a problem with me. The only thing that I felt that as an independent, if I even thought about trying to vote Democrat, the thing that I think they missed the mark on with undecided independents is not talking specifics. I hear enough. Now, Democrats may like hearing it, right? But when you're trying to reach people on the other side of the aisle or in the middle, undecided, you need to talk about specifics. We've been chasing Kamala, trying to get specifics, and here we are at a convention where nobody's talking about specifics. Okay, you don't like Donald Trump. Okay, you think he's bad man orange. Fine. Cool. Think what you want to think. What about the specifics? What does it look like that I can actually say that actually benefits me, right? Tangibly. Not it makes me feel good and bubbly inside. Tangibly, what can I use, right? And then to go to the point, the last point here, to go to the point that you were talking about with abortions, right? Again, I firmly believe that there should be time limits set on it. I'm not for abortions, but I do understand that certain things like the R word happens, certain things like SA happens, and that can lead to that. And then of course I understand things like ectopic pregnancies, and a lot of those things happen in women's bodies, right? But if you look at Planned Parenthood's own statistics, that is not the majority of abortions. And that is my problem. The same way I'm going to speak to the financial issue is, why aren't we focusing on abortions like that is preventative? It's not. No. How about you focus on what happens? What's the outlier here, or what's the problem here that so many of you keep getting abortions? Because we can't say we're for human life if we're okay with just offering babies.
But we also can't take
and
away.
Depending on what state it is, you can offer the baby all the way up.
Right, but you can't take away a person's choice and then not give them options.
But you can't expect everybody to respect your choice, especially when it becomes a human life. You can't expect everybody to respect it as if you're doing an honorable, as if you're doing an honorable thing. Because let's be clear, I've seen it, you've seen it, everybody's seen an abortion. You just tearing limbs apart, you sticking the baby in the head like that. This is not a thing to be celebrated, and to sit up there and be like, oh my God, yes, I can have an abortion, ma'am. That's not a beautiful thing.
It's not a beautiful
thing.
Right, but you're a brand. Are you a brand? Would you consider yourself a brand?
Would I consider myself a brand? Is that what you said?
Would you consider yourself a brand?
Yes.
Okay. Are you going to allow someone to tell you to do with your brand what you want? Are you going to allow someone to tell you what to do with your brand? Or are you going to do what you think is best for your brand?
No, and I'm okay with that. But I'm also okay with, I also know that everybody's not going to respect what I do.
Right.
And I don't jump down everybody's throat.
But we can't turn our noses
up. And I don't expect for nobody to pay for my brand either.
Right, but we can't turn our noses up at people when we know not of their situation.
But to
And we
me,
have to,
outside of all those bad things that we just talked about, outside of that, right? Most of those people on those statistic papers, it's abortion after abortion after abortion. It's like no birth control, no plan B, no nothing.
Right. But what if the Republican, what is the solution on the Republicans parties to come up with but my thing is that she keeps saying we're going to like Donald Trump is so proud that he overturned Roe versus Wade.
Well, he's saying take it away. He's saying take it away from the federal and leave it to the state. So basically, if Maryland is a blue state, 9 times out of 10, they're going to keep abortions.
I got you on that. But either way, my whole thing, the individuals should make that decision. It shouldn't be up to the state. It shouldn't be up for the federal government. Why are other people
then leave it to the people? I can agree there, right? If you say that, I can agree there, right?
But I get what you're about to say.
But then leave it to the people to fund it. Don't tell me I got to fund Planned Parenthood. They get federal funding, which means they get tax dollars, which means the other people that don't like it have to pay for you to be able to keep going and kill babies. Right. No, I'm not doing that.
The federal government pays for it. And in theory, when a person comes and say they can't take care of a child and they know that this child has issues or going to have other issues, is it going to cost you more to get an abortion, or is it going to cost our federal government more to take care of that child?
If you're saying it's your choice, then it's your choice to pay for it. It was your choice. But I'm saying it's your choice to get pregnant. It's your choice to get rid of it.
I got you. But in theory, what is cheaper? A person getting an abortion or a person
having a child? That's their business. That's not my business. I'm not paying for it.
But in theory,
that's what I mean.
But if someone knows that they can't afford to take care of that child, and whatever the case may be, and then they bring this child into the world, and then we still have to pay for that child.
Well, that's what I mean. Why we keep taking on accountability?
No, but that's true. That there has to be an accountability, but we also have to get to the problem before we even get to this as the solution. So my point is,
if you're going to have abortion there, what is your backup plan? So it's almost like you were saying earlier. You said, even though I don't agree, you said that the Republicans don't want to give you the fish, and then you said the Democrats are giving you the fish. So what's the middle? Because I'm not going to give you fish. I'm not going to give you fish.
The Democrats are going to will give you the fish and show you how to fish. Because that's
obviously not, because the abortion rate is so high. Obviously because the abortion rate is so high. No, we have a low birth rate. We have an all-time low birth rate.
I get what I'm saying to you is this. I can agree on some of the things that you said about the Democrats, and I can disagree with you on certain things with the Democrats. But what I will say is this, and we can say this on both sides of the aisle, which is this. We can't just take away something from people and not give them some type of solution as a result. So you can't say we're going to like we got to give them a solution. It's no one just because there should always be a solution. So don't just say I'm going to overturn Roe versus Wade, but then not give women that are in those situations a resolve, which is, okay, women, maybe you should wait till you're married to have children. Maybe you should try practicing abstinence. Maybe we should start putting those agendas and those narratives so we don't even have people in a position where they get an abortion. So
I agree. So
that's on both sides.
I agree. I agree, and I know you go. So I'm gonna end it with this. I agree with that point, right? And what you just said is what the right talks about, right? And then the left talks about the abortion. Again, like I said, where I'm at 90% of the times is I have a stance and I have a solution, because I don't agree that you should keep draining my pockets and you not take accountability, because now I'm taking accountability for you. And because you can't do it, I got to do it. That's not how it's supposed to work, especially if you are going to have a family and I'm going to have a family. I can't be accountable for your family as well. So if you need help with this, fine. Now the accountability comes in, where how you going to pay it back? What are you going to do to move forward? This and this and that and the third. I could tell you right now, I grew up privileged, like people like to talk about. I grew up privileged, and I still had to have accountability for a goddamn allowance. If I ask for more money, why you need more money? All this stuff, right? But that was my parents preparing me for what was going to come. Meaning, like, I have to be accountable. And that's all I'm saying. Like, if you're going to say, give people these things, make them accountable. Otherwise, you're going to keep draining my pockets and my tax dollars for people. And I don't agree that that's happening.
I think it's a misconception, and I think that sometimes when you don't go through something, you may not know something. So therefore, when you actually like I've gone through some things, and I've been around a lot of people that have gone through certain situations, in which case, when you go to Planned Parenthood, it's not just about abortions. It's about taking safety precautions so you don't get pregnant again. It's about making sure you don't catch an STD. It's about putting you on the right birth control. It's about telling women to abstain. There's a lot of other round elements that come with Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is just not for women to go get an abortion. And then you think about where else would these people get these resources from? Some people may not have the adequate insurance to do those things. Some people may not come from a strong background where their family has insurance. So think about the whole other implications that come with that. There's more to that issue than what people know. And when it comes to social services and all the benefits and the resources that they give out, there are certain classes that women have to take to, one, get cash assistance from the government. It is programs that people need to do in order for them to get food stamps. Yes, there are some people that are taking advantage of it, but there are some people that genuinely need it because of their situations. So to remove certain programs from people that are innocent bystanders in it is where we have a problem, and it gets convoluted. So my thing is this: if you're going to, there's no way to know which one is good. There's no way to know which ones are bad. There's no way to know how many people abortions a person has. But the reality is, it is a need and it is a problem in our country. And if some people look at it as like, oh, I'm just paying my tax dollars for this, and I don't want to pay for somebody to get an abortion. My thing is this: if you don't pay for a person to get an abortion because of their decision, you're going to end up still having to pay for it somewhere along another.
But if I'm paying also for the children that are in say California, they have high abortion rate and they have a high child protective service to where the kids are in the system. So
honestly,
what is the abortions really stopping if all the kids are in the damn system?
I get it. I get your notion, but quite frankly, when you've been around,
nobody's doing accountability. That's what I'm saying. Even when they choose not to abort and they have the children, they just do whatever.
But that's on both sides, though, and it's sad, and it's really, really sad when you really go to those shelters and you really talk to people and you understand people's stories. That every person has a story, and that even though you may not understand their story, that's their person's story. Everybody is not. I'm a person.
I spent my teens literally volunteering at the women's shelters.
Right.
Okay, so I know a lot of those women's stories, but I can also tell you that a lot of those women there, right? We would take some of them to go actually to the schools and try to talk to some of the girls who, in my age group, we grew up. You can just get an abortion. They would go to them girls and be like, nah, that's not what you want to do. You don't be wanting to bring children in here, wrap it up, all this stuff. They talking to girls and boys, wrap it up. I had a lady that had HIV, right? And she would talk to the girls because she, before it was called Hot Girl Summer, she was out there and doing whatever. And she like, look at me. Yep. And the girls was like, oh, I didn't even know you have AIDS. You look great. She was like, exactly. She was like, so what I'm telling you is you can't see AIDS and like. We used to have those type of classes in school, right? Health, wellness. You don't have that no more. And these are public liberal schools. We worried about asking a 10-year-old who he wants to sleep with when you shouldn't be asking anyway. I don't care if he gay or not. You shouldn't be asking a 10-year-old who what sex he likes, right? We worried about that. Meanwhile, they getting all the way up to adulthood, and then you just say, you push them out. They don't know nothing about finance, nothing about their bodies. They don't know nothing. especially if they're not taught it in the home. So what I'm saying is the accountability from the school system to the homes, everybody, nobody's taking accountability. The parents getting off scot-free. Well, I can just do this. I can just do this. The school will do it. They're not teaching the kids. Kids got iPads, all this type of nonsense. And then the government is just like, let's just, since they're letting us do it, let's just do what we want with them. You can't tell your kids they're not a chicken. You can let them cluck in class. It's just like, it's like what, nobody's taking accountability. Where we at? You get what I'm saying? It's just,
I mean,
it's
yeah,
a big ball of confusion.
That's as a country. It's a big
ball of confusion.
It's not like, that's not necessarily like on one political party. I can definitely say that.
Right. I'm just saying as a whole, it's a mess.
Me, you, a star somewhere, whoever's watching, we just got to do better, because as much as we can talk about every single problem, what is the solution? What are we going to do to actually be the solution? Like, some will say I'm biased because of how I feel about Trump, but everything that I say about him, it's like, I can acknowledge you. I mean, I'm gonna put it out, but I mean, my thing is this: I can say you're biased when it comes to Kamala. That's why I'm like, dude, you can't say I'm biased when you are kind of biased too. But it's theory, like,
I can tell you right now, I'm definitely biased against Kamala because I don't think Kamala is qualified.
Right. But at the same time, it's like, it's okay for you to be biased, but someone could put in the comments that I'm biased. And it's like, but I'm like, we're both, it's clearly both of us.
You're gonna have, everybody has a bias against something. It's fine. It's totally fine. The thing is just to own it. The thing is just to own it. Right? Like, I think you do. But a lot of people be like, no, I like, no, you don't. You girl, you ain't listening to the damn thing I said.
Now I'm looking at some stuff. Some stuff I'm just not gonna look at because I feel how I feel, and some stuff I'm just not gonna whatever because it's I'm not gonna dilute my perception.
Look, in my other and I'll just say this real quick because I know we're gonna end. In my other videos and things like that, I always speak highly of you. I be like, oh, I can't wait to talk to my liberal friend Jules, and they be like, liberal is a understand. I be like, y'all gonna leave Jules alone.
I mean, liberal
because people have an idea of what a person that's conservative is like and what a person that is liberal is like. And I can truly say, even though on a political spectrum we have different thoughts, opinions, and ideas, but I've always been a person to say that if the main goal is the same, and we can structure main values around it, then I don't mind reaching across the aisle to somebody who doesn't necessarily think like me to find a solution to something.
Right. No, I mean, it's all.
But everybody's not like that, so I just deal with it as it comes. Because the comments, they'll say I'm stupid. You're not black if you don't.
No, but I mean, I'm real, I'm honest, and I'm about for all people, not just like the people at the top. I'm for all people. I want everybody to do good. And I want people to start focusing on the solution instead of trying to look for like something bad in a person every time, because you're not going to agree with everything. And I'm not looking for nothing bad in Trump. I wanted the best for Trump. But it's some of the stuff that he said that makes me say, I mean, if this was another person, would I be okay with that? And that's what I have to think about, my moral fiber more than anything else. And so people may not agree with that, but at the end of the day, I give every person an A until they choose to give me, until they like lower their own grade. Every person is getting an A with me, but they have the choice.
If there's a comment that you'll really like, the guy said he didn't agree with nothing I said politically, but he likes that I at least explain why I do think the way I think, and so therefore he likes me. And I was like, oh, well, that was a nice comment from a liberal person, because usually they just run the gamut on my ass.
Correct. But I mean, because this is your platform, you're going to get more of a more conservative bunch of people, more Republicans.
Right. No, and that's what I'm coming into
the dungeon. I'm coming into the dungeon right here. So
look, I can't wait till Jules starts her platform so they can brave you. They're like, Jules, I can't believe you know a black Trump supporter.
Oh no, I already have people doing that. I already have people reaching out to me. Like, yeah, I already had a couple of people saying, do you stand for that too? And I'm like, nah, like I don't like. You might see me like it.
But see, that's what I don't like. Like, I don't have to agree with you in order for me to literally sit here and have discourse. Because if we don't talk, if different aisles don't talk, how do you get anything done?
I mean, yeah, people gonna filter in what they want, and you know, and what they don't, they gonna call it crap. So it's all good. It's all love.
Yeah,
At the end of the
but
day, y'all still watching.
I want to thank everybody who's watching it for tuning in. If you're catching it on the playback, leave a comment. It can be you can disagree. Just keep it cute. Just keep it cute. Everybody's human. Everybody got feelings. I don't care what you write, but just saying, just keep it cute, keep it nice. I don't want YouTube to be snatching comments up off my stuff, right? I want everybody's voice to be heard. So again, thank you for watching. And if you want to support, here is a way to support the channel. $ officially Mika. I'm also going to be posting a video to show exactly, where the money is going, because we're building up our podcast studio and all the stuff. Because what you see right now is my office desk. So, and that's because I'm building the other side. So
Join lit,
next time my little box won't be falling when I'm arguing with Jules.
Look, like, nah, her set look legit. Like it looks amazing, y'all. Definitely, like, I can't wait for y'all to see the grand reveal she does.
Yes, and I always want to thank Jules, because like I was saying, even though we may not agree politically, Jules is a very sweet person. And even if you guys don't agree with her politically, like, she is a very nice person. She will give you the shirt off her back if you ask for it. I'm basically a conservative, so I probably won't ask for it, but I know Jules will give it to me. I like messing with Jules. I troll her.
I would.
But I tell people all the time, I love Jules. I love Jules. So again, thank everybody for watching, and